Guys, what's the most obvious hint you got from a girl that turned out not to be a hint? Received a text message at 1:30 AM from a girl that I expressed interest in to come over and help her rearrange her bedroom. Turned out she couldn't sleep and just legitimately wanted help rearranging her bedroom. Oh, my bad. Sorry, I forgot my doctor told me not to lift more than 10 pounds due to my back injury. In high school I had a best friend I was secretly into. She invited me over to her parents' house after school every Friday. Her parents were never home and she literally would strip naked as soon as the door closed and invite me to join in as well. I'd comply, then nothing. We'd sit on the couch and watch TV eating popcorn, both of us butt naked. After 3 weeks of blueballing visits I tried to kiss her. Total recoil, and then she tells me she's only into girls. Sigh. Later that summer she invited me to a family BBQ. Everybody there was naked including her parents. Apparently everyone in that family just liked getting naked. A drunk girl one night once approached me in a KFC and said she loved my hair. I said thank you. She then proceeded to chat and called me really good looking. I responded, as a joke playing it cool, "Oh, you flirt." She responded, "I'm not flirting," and stormed off. I collected my chicken and left needlessly deflated. Laughing hysterically at every joke I told. Turns out she was just a lesbian who apparently genuinely thought I was freaking hilarious. That's kinda a best case scenario for this thread. When I was a teenager I had mostly female friends. One of them I was quite interested in, and one night during a party at my dad's house she was trying to make herself a drink and splashed water over herself. Shortly after, she was explaining to me just how much water had splashed on her. During this explanation she took my hand and put it under her shirt to feel her wet bra and held my hand there for a short while. After the party, when everyone was going to bed, she decided to sleep in my room. I offered her my bed and said I would sleep on the floor. She asked to borrow a t-shirt of mine to sleep in, removed her bra, placing it on the floor near my pillow, and got into bed. At this point she said she was cold, the house was warm. I offered to get up and turn on the heating. She said not to, and I was reluctant to make the obvious offer of sharing the bed at this point because I didn't want to risk a friendship. In the next few weeks it kept happening. She made a point of sharing sleeping couches with me at future parties and regularly fell asleep or lay on me in social situations. Asked me into her bedroom late at night after taking drives together through the countryside, and even on time Skyping me in her dressing gown. Run, 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 run. So shortly after all this I told her I was interested in her as more than a friend. I mean, even mutual friends who had been her friend longer than mine thought she was hinting. And I was promptly shot down and then attacked by her for ruining our friendship with feelings. Apparently all that hinting behavior was not intentional and it's just a personality quirk of hers to be overly flirty. Bluest balls of my life. A girl I was seeing in college started talking all lovey-dovey on the phone with me almost every night. The usual. She would say stuff like, "So what are you doing tonight? I can't sleep and I miss you." "No, you hang up first." "No, you." We see each other every day and studied together and went for dinners, and I sent her home, and a couple of months later, I confessed my feelings for her. She said that's just weird and that she isn't looking for a relationship. Then she got herself a boyfriend 2 weeks later. This is gonna get buried, but I made plans with a girl once to come over for dinner and a movie, platonically. When we got to the movie portion, she took off her pants, laid beside me in my bed. I made a move. Till this day she claims she was only getting comfortable and wasn't interested. She's my wife now and I tell the kids she made the first move. I'd like to be one of the first people to help this comment get unburied. I'd been hanging out with this girl for a couple weeks, at the same bar, on and off. We'd flirt, make out, etc. She agreed to go on a date with me, then stood me up. No communication, no nothing. So, I gave up, went to the bar we hung out at. She showed up 20 minutes after I did, with another guy. I'm gonna upvote cause I need a woman in the know to explain this if you don't have any. This happened in my last year of high school. I had a crush on a girl in band. I played clarinet, she played flute. We were both in the first row, so we sat directly across from each other and naturally looked at each other during rehearsals. At our school, all the graduating band kids were allowed to write a short blurb which would be included in the program for our spring concert. Anyways, concert day rolls around, and I'm hanging around backstage, flipping through the program waiting for the parents to start arriving. I eventually get to her blurb. Her favorite band memory was looking across at a certain clarinet player. Turns out it wasn't me. This is how Squidward was made. The girl I liked asks me, "Hey, do you wanna go to prom with me?" I said yes, of course, and she said great. We're all going in a group, and you can be Mildred's date. Worked with a girl at a small restaurant that was a part of a bigger restaurant. We worked with nobody else. She would walk up behind me and jam her tea in my back to get my attention, which worked every time. She would talk about how she sometimes just wanted to get laid. Once she sat on a counter and I stood about 2 feet away and suddenly feel her foot on my butt. Soon after I'm standing at the counter about 10 minutes after I got a tea in back and I put my hand on her hip, not butt, not front, hip, and she asks me if I want to go to HR for sexual harassment. Talk about giving mixed messages. Wait, so who's reporting who in this situation? And if she threatened to report you, you just matrixed the frick out of a bonsai bill bullet of a catastrophe. Back when AIM was a thing, a girl told me about sex dreams she had about me, in explicit detail, more than once. Periodically, she'd take her shirt off on webcam, cyber, do they still call it that, etc. I'd see her in school the next day, nothing, never wanted to date, or anything else. Reading the thread about hints you got from a girl but missed, I was thinking, dang, I've missed a lot of potential flings. Then reading this thread, I'm thinking she's going to have to be holding a neon sign stating her intentions before I make a move. The way this thread has gone, even if she personally handcrafted the neon sign, she'd still reject you and say all I did was make this complicated sign. I don't actually like you like that. She told me she liked me and would love to be in a relationship with me. She even sent me nudes. So I asked her out and she rejected me. I asked a girl to go ice skating with me for New Year's Eve. She excitedly said, "I'd love to." A few days out, I asked her when I should pick her up. She seemed confused and said that "I'd love to" doesn't mean yes. I'm not upset about it. I don't need to deal with that kind of mental gymnastics. Went to Renfest with some friends. Tagging along was a girl I hadn't met before, as she came along with one of my other friends. We walked around for the better part of the day and I noticed at almost every opportunity she was being very flirty with me, made several brushes up against my arms and seemed to want to hold my hand a lot. I took this as a sign that she was interested in me, but as it turned out she was using me to shield herself away from the other friend that she came with, who was quite interested in her. Felt pretty crappy about it afterwards and it was a big blow to my already fragile ego. See, I'm cool being that shield, but tell me first. Ouch. We were hanging out in a nature preserve at night. She kissed me and took her top off. Turns out, she wasn't into me but just really likes attention. Friend from high school and I were hanging out. After talking for a bit, she leaned over and kissed me, and for the next hour we made out with her stroking my dong through my pants. Nothing further happened though. Next time I saw her, a couple days later, she was talking about her new boyfriend. I thought she was playfully referring to me, and then acted completely surprised when I went in for a kiss, stating I just told you about my boyfriend. I was really confused. Haven't seen her since. PS. No alcohol involved whatsoever. Back in high school, a girl in my class openly told me that if she got the chance, she would have sex with me. She was kinda on the hot side, so I tried to make SMTH happen, and about a week later she was grabbing me all over, in between classes. So I proceeded to grab her as well. She got mad and wouldn't talk to me for a week. Was left very confused afterwards. Growing up, my neighbor was pretty flirty. In retrospect, she may have just been naive. A couple incidents come to mind. I was at their house while they had some friends over. Neighbor girl calls me into her room with her friends. Demands to know who's cutest. She called out her and her friends' features with grotesque fondling. I was helping her with math homework. I don't remember the exact instances, but every couple problems she would turn my wedding into a sexual euphemism. She had a birthday party when she turned like 15. At some point, she pulled me into her room to dance alone with me. She puts on some slow jazz, we start dancing. She even dimmed the freaking lights and lit candles. After a couple minutes I go to kiss her and she freaks out and leaves. My hormonal butt has never been more confused. She probably had a crush on you but didn't know how to handle it. 10th grade super flirty female friend Janice comes over after school. Can I see you room? She legit was just curious about my personal quarters. Ended up playing PS2 and having a tickle fight, which only happened cause my dumbass tried to put the moves on her and had to play it off once I saw that wasn't why she came over. Smooth. Had a coworker keep flirting with me. She gave me her Facebook and phone number. She constantly kept seeking me out just to talk about nothing. She'd always have those frick me eyes and tone of voice. Eventually she messages me to pick her up at a parking lot and we go around town sharing ice cream and loitering in random stores until 3 AM. Then she randomly asks to come over at midnight. She lived an hour away, so she came over at midnight to a guy's house she only knew from working with him for 2 weeks and going out. We sit in my room and we put a movie on. Then she refuses to cuddle. She talks about how boys are always trying to make a move on her, and she then takes out her diary from high school and reads it to me. It was probably the most WTF is going on experience I've had with a girl ever. Up until that point I was 100% sure if I made a move she was going to have her way with me. And she then takes out her diary from high school and reads it to me. I've read a lot of painful in this thread, but you win. In high school these two popular girls thought they'd have a laugh by going up to the nerdy group of boys and asking them one by one when they were alone if they'd be interested in having a date with them. Then when the boy said yes they'd pull a date, the fruit, out of their pocket and laugh. I guess they just assumed because we were nerds and virgins that we would desperately say yes and they'd have got a good laugh. But they got a pretty big awakening when of the 5 boys they ended up doing this to, all 5 rejected them. We then had some girls come over and say that we were mean for making her cry. But I reckon it's a heck of a lot more cruel to plan on embarrassing a bunch of teenage boys the way she was going to than us taking what they said seriously and respectfully declining. Moved to a new town for a job and didn't really know anyone. I got a haircut and the hairdresser seemed to be flirting with me and ended up giving me her number. The next day she asks if I want to come over to her place. I'm like, heck yes. I get there and there's like 3 other people with her, and it turns out she was hosting a Mormon Bible study or something and was basically trying to convert me to Mormonism. Edit. Because so many people are asking. No, this was not in Utah or Idaho. It was in Eastern Washington state. Edit 2. To everyone saying Eastern Washington is basically Idaho, you're right. But it was actually more like Central Washington. I just thought most non-Washingtonians would have a hard enough time envisioning anything outside of Seattle, let alone a middle section of the state. So anyway, it's still a little Idaho-ish, but not quite as bad. She gave me head, twice, then proceeded to say that we were just friends. You couldn't figure that out by the first time or? That's a great friend. Edit. Thanks for the gold. In a high school, a girl asked me to a school dance. This was a girl I had liked for quite some time, so I thought this was a good indicator. The day before the dance she told me, I'm actually going with so and so. I asked you so that you would end up without a date. I think you're a jerk and don't deserve to go. Update. I've been asked quite often here if I was a jerk. I can't say I ever did anything to this girl to warrant this. I had a bit of a false reputation for getting around in high school. Good news is I actually did get asked by someone else later that same day and went to the dance. Bonus points. A month after this event occurred, senior prom was fast approaching and this girl told me she regretted everything and wanted me to ask her to that. Totally did not. That's horrible. At least you dodged a bucket. Sounds like she's cruel. Went to a girl's place to watch the Olympics. It was our second date. She told me I could stay and sleep over because we had been drinking. Her brother and his girlfriend were there, so I didn't think anything of it. It started to get late and I asked her for some blankets and pillows to sleep on the couch. She told me that I could just sleep in her bed with her. I still did not think anything of it. Her brother gave some pajamas to wear and I changed and got into bed while the girl was brushing her teeth. Next thing you know, she walks into bedroom totally naked and gets into bed. It caught me off guard. I was suddenly filled with happiness. I move in to kiss her. We hadn't before. And she said I am not ready for that. I was so dang confused. I just said okay, then rolled over and questioned reality until I fell asleep. More than once I've run into girls who were DTF but thought kissing was some sacred thing. It boggled my mind each time as I thought no kissing meant no sex. This one girl I know sent me multiple nudes without me asking, but then said she was talking to someone, and another sent me nudes except I asked for these ones, and she even flashed me while we were both in a pool, but she didn't want to be anything more than friends. Why are there so many people in this thread getting random nudes? I wish that would happen to me. She was sending me nude pics. When I made a move she acted all surprised and said it wasn't like that. Colder freaking fooled me. This girl I liked freshman year of high school came up to me before a concert, mentioned a part of my shirt had become untucked and then proceeded to tuck it in herself, putting her entire hand down my pants so her hand was on my dong. Afterwards, she acted like nothing weird happened and ignored my now more obvious advances and got a boyfriend not long after. She was checking what's in store, dude, and she obviously decided it's not worth it, or maybe it's just too much for her to handle. I found her in my room in my bed in her underwear at a party at my place in college. Turns out she was just getting dressed. She fricked someone in your bed. This female friend and I both shared this same hobby and we saw each other regularly at meetups, hanging out and talking, and one time she had a problem with her phone and I helped her out. It was a minor fix, but she was really happy and grateful. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, you're getting a hug. I didn't think too much of it until a while later when she had some good news and posted about it online and I congratulated her and she noted that we hadn't seen each other in person in several days. Conflicting work schedules. So we were just never in the same place at the same time. Thank you. 3 years less than 3 years less than 3. I miss hanging out with you. Hopefully I get to see you this week. Lots of other similar messages online. She enjoys our time together. She laments that we haven't been able to see each other in person, etc. I wasn't sure if I was reading too much into this, so I asked another female friend what she thought and she thought I was being oblivious and stupid. Okay, it seems pretty obvious she likes you. You should totally ask her out the next time you see her, if you like her, too. At the next meetup, she says hi, it's been too long, and gives me a hug. And another one of our mutual friends is asking her how she's been and she says she's been super busy and she'll have to take off early rather than stick around to socialize because her boyfriend is getting off work really soon and then they are going to have dinner and I'm a bigger idiot than I thought. It took 10 seconds on my phone to look at her online profile, in a relationship with Rick Smith. Wait, Rick that Rick? I've known him longer than I've known her. We've hung out tons of times. Talked about stuff and he's never mentioned her. Also, she's never mentioned Rick until this meetup. Whoa, I read that whole situation completely wrong. Later, I closely pay attention to her interaction with other people. Oh, hey, John. I haven't seen you in a long time. Give me a hug. I missed you. Carrie, how have you been? I know, I haven't seen you in a long time. I miss hanging out with everyone here at meetups. I've just been really busy. So, she's just very outgoing and friendly with all her friends like that. Well crap, that might be me. I'm just friendly and I like to hug people. I'll try to be more clear now. Senior year of high school there was this cheerleader that asked for my number and would always flirt with me saying we'd be the cutest couple in the school and always wanted me to come over to her apartment in downtown Indy and then told me to make her my WCW. Also spent so much time with me at a concert we coincidentally saw each other at. Also grinder on me at a fundraiser in high school when the music turned it into a party. The whole high school was telling me to ask her out already because signals could never be more clear. When I asked her out to lunch she freaked out and was shocked that I would interpret friendship for that. I'm not a guy, but a bisexual female. I had a girl in my photography class who asked me every day about my life and so I told her a ton of stuff. We got super close and we were best friends for a bit. One time in photo class someone brought up how it feels to be touched for the first time and I joked that I wouldn't know what that's like. This girl straight up put her hand in my pants in the dark room and started to finger me, and later when I asked her if she wanted to do that more she said, "Oh no, I'm not gay or anything like that." Still got fingered though, so jokes on her. I became reconnected to a friend from high school that I hadn't talked to in years through Bumble. I was pleasantly surprised that after exchanging numbers that she took initiative and suggested to see each other for brunch the next morning. Eventually I mentioned that I was baking for work and she said, "Wow, you're smart and you can cook. How do you keep the women away?" I respond saying that I hope she wouldn't be able to have an answer after brunch, which makes her laugh. Brunch goes well and 3 days later she offers to buy me dinner to repay me for paying for brunch. I'm flabbergasted and appreciative, but I declined since I already had plans that night and didn't want to be rude. She comes over that Saturday to play board games with my friends and I talks about how she should love to come to a game the next time I host something like this. I ask her if she wants to go paddle boarding and she's super on board with it. We had been texting every day and she seemed rather interested, so I thought she was genuinely interested in getting to know me more and potentially date in the future. She gets sick and with bad weather approaching I say that we can always go another day and there's always time for a first date. I then get told that she's not looking to be dating yet and is still getting over her last relationship. A couple of weeks later we go to church together and I meet her family, who apparently are really impressed, and she invites me to a BBQ with it being only family and significant others. I'm so confused. You're invited to a family function as a +1. I'd say you still have a solid chance. Just don't push it. Let it go naturally and make good impressions with her family. I invited a friend of mine to be my date for a wedding. The wedding was great. We drank plenty and she even got me out on the dance floor. After the party winded down I went to take her back to her car that was parked at my place. We got in the car and started driving back, listening to old Blink-182 and singing along. She reached over and held my hand. I have been single for 3 years, so this was nice. I decided I'm going to take the long way home, taking back streets and going way out and around before heading home. We finally get back to my house and she asked if I wanted to hang out for one more drink. She comes inside and we stand in my kitchen having one more glass of wine. As I'm pouring the drinks she turns Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers. We held our drinks in one hand and each other with the other hand. We slow danced in my kitchen and it was amazing. The song was coming to an end and I decided this is it. This is where the guy kisses the girl. I leaned in to kiss her and she very politely pushed me away. I held my head in shame and we finished off the night playing music and drunkenly dancing in my kitchen. Even though nothing romantic came from this, she is still one of my best friends and this is my favorite memory from the past year. Such an excellent night. Edit. I would like to thank everyone for the comments and for reprimanding me for driving after drinking. I could say I wasn't that drunk. I know my limits yada yada, but I won't. It was a stupid thing to do and no one should ever drive drunk in this day and age. Ubers and cabs are cheaper than a lawyer. The universe scolded me with blue balls and a gnarly hangover. This is like wow, another level. I had a first date with a girl that went really well, and after I got home I got a text from her that said, "You left your dessert from dinner. Should I come drop it off?" I immediately replied that I'd just come over and pick it up. She said we could hang out a little more, maybe play some video games. It was midnight, so of course I figured come pick up your dessert and play some video games meant come over for sex. So I hauled butt back onto the freeway to get over there. Cut to 20 minutes later, I'm eating a brownie and helping her pick up multiplayer only trophies in LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean. We've been dating for 3 years. A happy ending one is refreshing. She said she wanted a guy like me. She didn't want a guy who is me. Girl at work and I had been talking more and more over the prior 2 weeks, getting increasingly flirty both in person and texts. At work there was a lot of unnecessary physical contact that she would initiate. One of my coworkers said, "Dude, she's into you. Ask her out," so I did. She starts laughing. Then, after seeing the, I guess, bewildered look on my face, stops and puts her hand over her mouth. Then says, "Oh, you were serious? Oh honey, I don't date below an 8. You're 6 at best. I know, bullet dodged and all that. But still, that's a heavy blow to the ol' self-confidence. She is a garbage person. Girl asked if I wanted to hang out before we went to hang with friends. We watched a movie. She laid her head in my lap. Then suddenly I am known as a creep because I tricked her into coming over to hang out alone. I was really confused. Over time most of my friends believed me because she does dumb crap like that all the time, but that was a shocker and kinda messed with my head. Apparently I was so unattractive that her excuse for hanging out with me had to be that I tricked her. That just tells you how stupid she is and has no idea what she actually wants. I met a woman at a bar, both early 20s. We went back to her place after leaving the bar. We talk and smoke weed. She excuses herself to the bathroom, comes back in tiny tank top and panties, sits down next to me and asks me if I'd like to lay down with her. So we crammed ourselves onto her couch and I held her against me and she kept rubbing her butt into my crotch, so I finally made a move. She said, "Oh, I don't like you like that. I just get lonely and want to feel an erection against my butt sometimes." So I got up and left, went home and got drunk with my buddies. Freaking what? If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.